I was 48 hours away from permanent brain damage, and my mother still made her flight to Maui. My name is Elena Carter. I'm 32 years old. 3 weeks ago, at exactly 11, I collapsed face first onto my keyboard on the 31st floor of my company's headquarters in downtown Seattle. Hemorrhagic stroke. By the time the ER doctor explained the bleeding in my brain, my phone showed 4 missed calls to my mom before she finally answered. She came to the hospital. She heard the word stable, and then she chose my sister's wedding venue tour over the possibility that I might not wake up. I spent 7 days in the ICU alone, except I wasn't, because every night, a man I'd never met stood outside my glass room and told the nurse he was my father. Every Sunday at exactly 6, my phone rings, not because my mother misses me, not because she wants to know how my week went. Sunday at 6 is accounting. Elena, she says, her voice warm in that careful way she uses when she's about to ask for something. Your dad's SUV needs new brakes. That's $780. And Chloe's florist needs the second deposit, $3. Liang bai. Oh, and the electric bill spiked this month. Another $410. I don't interrupt. I open my laptop. I pull up the spreadsheet. 7 years ago, I built an Excel file titled Family Transfers. Clean columns. Reason. Amount. Notes. Paid or loan. There are no loans. On the 1st of every month, Yuan, 200 leaves my account automatically. On top of that, Sundays average another $2. 000 to $4, 000, depending on what Chloe needs. I make $152, 000, a year after taxes about $12, $600 a month. For 7 years, I've sent home an average of $29, 000 annually. I scroll to the bottom of the sheet. Total transferred, 214元, 370. 90% of the entries have one name attached. Chloe, Chloe's apartment deposit, Chloe's credit card minimum, Chloe's car lease, Chloe's Cancun girls trip, Chloe's bridal shower, Chloe's emergency dental veneers before engagement photos. When I once mentioned the imbalance, my mother's tone shifted instantly. You're the strong one, she said. Chloe is sensitive. She needs more support. I support you too. I replied calmly, and we appreciate it. She answered, but you don't have children. You're not married. You're independent. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It sounds like a compliment. It's a permission slip to extract. 2 weeks before my stroke, Chloe texted me a photo of a strapless lace wedding dress. Isn't it perfect? It's $6. eBay. Mom said you'd help. Also, we're short about $28. 000 on the wedding fund. You're maid of honor level, even if you're not technically the maid of honor. Love you. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. I'll handle it. 3 white heart emojis. Later that night, my mother called again. You're coming to Maui for the venue tour. Right. I can't. The IPO is in 11 days. A pause. Well, she said lightly, since you won't be there, the least you can do is cover the trip. Flights were $3. eBay. The resort was $4. Liangbai. Food and excursions will be about $3. Ling ling ling. The least you can do. I logged into my banking app while she was still speaking. Balance. Wu Meiyuan. 412. 11 days until my equity vested. 11 days until $310. 000 hit my account. 11 days until I stopped being everyone's safety net. I'll transfer it tonight, I said evenly. After we hung up, I added another line to the spreadsheet. Reason. Maui venue tour. Amount. 10 Meiyuan. Senbei. I don't argue. I don't yell. I just document. Because this isn't generosity. It's a system. And I've been its primary revenue stream. I've never looked like anyone in my family. My legal father is 5 to 8 on a generous day. My mother is 5 to 4. Chloe barely clears 5 to 3. I'm 5 to 10. They all have dark brown eyes. Almost black. Mine are gray-blue light enough that strangers comment on them. My hair turns almost blonde in the summer. Theirs stays dark. Genetics can be random. I know that. I've repeated that sentence to myself for years. But when I was 16, standing in our kitchen under fluorescent lights, I asked a simple question. Why don't I look like anyone else? My mother didn't laugh. She didn't tease me. She froze. Not confused. Not amused. Frozen. What exactly are you implying? Elena, she asked. Too carefully. The temperature in the room shifted. My father stared at his plate. Chloe smirked like I'd made a joke. I never asked again. Years later, at Thanksgiving, I brought it up casually. I must have gotten my eyes from your side, I said to my mom. Your grandfather had them. She snapped too quickly. You just never met him. There are no photos of that grandfather. He supposedly died before I was born. When I catch my reflection in office windows or elevator mirrors, I sometimes feel like I'm looking at someone who was assembled from different parts. Familiar, but misplaced. Like I belong near them but not fully with them. It wasn't dramatic, just a quiet, persistent misalignment. And when my mother saw the name Adrian Hale on the ICU visitor log 3 weeks ago, the color drained from her face in a way I recognized instantly. That same frozen stillness, the same temperature drop, like a truth she'd buried, had just stood up and introduced itself. 11 days before the IPO, our timeline moved up, 3 weeks early. Emergency board meeting. Monday, market volatility is tightening. Our CEO said, if we don't move now, we lose momentum. I didn't argue. I opened my notebook and recalculated the workload in my head. That afternoon, our CFO resigned. No warning. 2-line email. Desk cleared before lunch. Reed stepped into my office and closed the door. I need you to absorb compliance and audit oversight, he said, just until we stabilize. Investor decks, due diligence, SEC documentation, operational audits, risk reports, legal review cycles, board updates. 16-hour days became normal. Some nights stretched to 18. I slept on the office couch twice, lived on protein bars and black coffee. My smartwatch buzzed hourly warnings about elevated heart rate. I dismissed them without reading. 48 employees depended on this listing. If we missed the window, we'd lose $22 million in funding, and my equity $310. 000 would vest the day we went public. For the first time in my adult life, I would have capital that wasn't already promised to someone else. I just had to get through 11 days. By day 6, the headache started. Steady, a pressure behind my right eye. I blamed dehydration. By day 8, the pressure sharpened. My peripheral vision blurred during late-night spreadsheet reviews. Letters swam at the edges of the screen. At Zech, Reed sent a message. I know this is a lot, Elena, but you're the only one I trust to keep this steady. The only one I trust. I typed back. Handled. I didn't mention that my left hand had tingled that afternoon. Didn't mention rereading the same paragraph 3 times without processing it. Didn't mention that my blood pressure at my last physical had been flagged concerning for your age. I don't dramatize problems. I solve them. 11 days. That's all I needed. The night it happened, the office was empty. Seattle's skyline reflected against the glass wall of my office. I stared at a sentence on my screen. We will proceed as planned. The cursor blinked at the end of it. Then the numbers shifted. Columns slid sideways. Letters overlapped. The cursor doubled, then tripled. I blinked hard and leaned back. Fatigue, I told myself. I reached for my water bottle. My hand missed. I looked down at it like it belonged to someone else. Focus, I whispered. I tried to stand. My left leg didn't respond. The room tilted violently to the right. The glass wall warped like it was underwater. A sharp pressure exploded behind my eye, not a headache. Something deeper, structural. I grabbed the edge of my desk with my right hand. My left arm hung useless at my side. Call someone. The thought formed clearly. My body didn't move. My phone slipped from my fingers. The last thing I saw was the cursor blinking at the end of that sentence. We will proceed as planned. Then the floor came up fast, and everything went black. I don't remember the ambulance. I don't remember the CT scan, the tube down my throat, or the nurse shaving a thin strip of hair near my temple. What I remember is what they showed me later. Room 417, 4th floor ICU. Glass walls facing the hallway. Machines breathing in slow mechanical rhythm. Monitors blinking green and red like in different metronomes. The hospital called my mother 4 times between 12 and 5. She answered at 7. My parents lived 28 minutes away. Security footage shows they arrived at 9. They stayed 36 minutes. My mother spoke to the attending physician for 12. My father stood in the hallway on his phone. Chloe never entered the room. She sat scrolling, one leg crossed over the other, telling someone hospitals were depressing. The doctor's words had been stable, but critical. The next 72 hours are high risk. My mother heard the first word and ignored the rest. She left me a voicemail. Elena, honey, the doctor says you're stable. We have to go to Maui like we planned. The tickets are non-refundable. I'll call every day. Chloe really needs me right now. Just rest. Okay? She didn't more say I love you. She didn't say I'm scared. She said Chloe needs me. My family was boarding a flight to Hawaii. Someone else walked into St. Vincent Medical Center. Room 417. Elena Carter. Are you family? The receptionist asked. His name was Adrian Hale. He didn't go inside. The hallway camera shows him stopping 6 feet from my glass door. Gray suit. No tie. Silver hair cut short. Early 60s. Hands in his coat pockets like he was physically restraining them. He stood there for 3 hours and 12 minutes. Didn't sit. Didn't make calls. Didn't look at his phone. My ICU nurse, Amanda, approached him. Sir, you're allowed to go in. She's sedated. He shook his head once. Not yet. Are you immediate family? A pause. Not confusion. Calculation. He stayed until 11. The next night, he came back. And the next, sometimes he brought a laptop and worked quietly in the hallway chair, angled toward my room. Every few minutes, his eyes lifted to the monitors inside. When alarms beeped, he stood immediately. On the third night, Amanda stopped him again. Our records list a different father. He held her gaze. There's more than one kind of father. He didn't raise his voice, didn't argue, just stated it. On November 22nd, my blood pressure dropped sharply at 9. The hallway tightened with tension. Nurses moved fast. Monitors screamed. Amanda stepped into the hall. Sir, we need space. He stepped back, but he didn't leave. He stood outside the glass again, jaw tight, eyes locked on the chaos inside. When the monitor stabilized, Amanda told him, she's stable. He exhaled once, not relief. Control. The next morning, the attending physician ordered emergency cardiac intervention. Secondary inflammation, stress-triggered complication. If we don't operate within 48 hours, he told Amanda, she has a 40% chance of not waking up. The hospital needed an $18,000 deposit by 6 p. to schedule the surgical team. Estimated total. Sishabamayuan. Ling ling ling. Amanda called my mother. Music in the background. Laughter. We can't fly back right now. My mother said, email the consent form. Send any remaining balance to Elena's address. She makes good money. She's in a coma. Amanda replied. She'll figure it out. She always does. The line went dead. St. Vincent's billing department received a wire transfer. Ibai Sisha Armayuan. Ling ling ling. Memo line. Full balance. Patient Elena Carter. Do not disclose donor. The surgical deposit cleared immediately. When billing called the attached number to confirm, the man answered. Relationship to patient, they asked. A pause. Family. The surgery was scheduled. He sat in the waiting room from 6 until 11. Didn't check his phone. Didn't leave for coffee. When the surgeon emerged and said, she's stable, he stood. Thank you, he said quietly. Are you family? The doctor asked. He nodded once, and then he stepped back, like he was still waiting for permission. I woke up on day 5. White ceiling, fluorescent light. My chest felt split open. My body felt like it belonged to someone else. The chair beside my bed was empty. No flowers, no cards, no overnight bag from family. Just a neatly folded blanket at the foot of the bed, precise corners, and a hardcover book on the table. Meditations. Marcus Aurelius. Inside the cover, written in clean block letters. To my daughter, I hope one day you'll understand why I stayed away. My pulse monitor spiked. When my mother walked into the ICU 3 days later, she looked sun-warmed. Floral dress, gold sandals, Maui still clinging to her skin. She closed the door behind her. We need to talk, then talk, I said calmly. Her hands trembled, just slightly. It was 1993. She began. Adrian was nothing back then. Junior engineer, no stability. Then his company transferred him to London for 2 years. No warning. And you were pregnant. I said. She didn't deny it. Your father Mark had already proposed. He had a mortgage, a pension, health insurance. I had 6 weeks to decide. You chose him. I chose survival. You chose to lie. Her jaw tightened. You don't know what it's like being 23 and scared. I held her gaze. I know what it's like being 32 and disposable. Silence filled the room. When did he find out? I asked. 2 years later. He came back. I told him you weren't his. I told him to stay away. You threatened him. A beat. How long did he stay away? 20 years. And then, he hired a firm. DNA confirmation. Lawyers reached out. I refused contact. I told him you had a father. I watched her carefully. Why did you resent me? Her head snapped up. I didn't resent you. Every time I succeeded, you minimized it. Every time Chloe needed something, you called me. $200,000 in 7 years. That was family responsibility. No, I said evenly. That was punishment. Her breathing grew uneven. You look like him, she whispered. There it was. You remind me of the life I didn't choose. I didn't flinch, so you kept him away. I said, and you kept me paying. Tears slid down her face. I was protecting you. From what? She didn't answer. The doctor said I was stable. She said instead. He also said critical. She looked down. Chloe's wedding. was more important than whether I lived. I thought you'd understand. You always do. That sentence settled something in me. Final. You had 32 years to tell the truth, I said. Instead, you let me build my life around a lie. She stepped closer to the bed. Elena, we're still your family. I shook my head slowly. Family doesn't board a plane when there's a 40% chance I won't wake up. Her face hardened. You can't erase us because you're angry. I'm not angry, I said quietly. That was the part that scared her. I'm done. She stared at me. What does that mean? It means go home. Tell Mark the truth. Tell Chloe there's no $28. 000 coming. Her expression fractured. You can't mean that. I mean exactly that. My voice never rose. I paid your bills. I funded your vacations. I financed your choices. That ends now. You're being cruel. No. I said, I'm being clear. She stood there a moment longer, searching my face for hesitation. She didn't find any. When she opened the ICU door, Adrian was standing in the hallway. They locked eyes. 32 years compressed into 6 feet of air. She walked past him without speaking. He waited. Then he knocked once and stepped inside. He stopped halfway to my bed. I won't interfere unless you ask me to, he said. I studied him. You stood outside that glass for 3 hours the first night. I didn't know if I'd earned the right to walk in. The honesty in that answer landed heavier than any apology could have. I looked at the empty chair beside my bed, then back at him. For the first time in my life, I wasn't negotiating love. I wasn't financing it. I was choosing who got to stay. I was discharged on November 26th. Adrian drove me home. No music, no forced conversation. Just the quiet hum of the engine and the soft rhythm of rain against the windshield. He didn't try to fill the silence. He just adjusted the heat when I shivered and asked what time my follow-up MRI was scheduled. He remembered the date. 2 days later, the company went public at $18 per share. The IPO closed clean. My equity vested at $310. Ling ling ling. For the first time in my adult life, I had money that wasn't already spoken for. I didn't announce it. I didn't send screenshots. I didn't call my mother. I just logged into my bank account and turned off the automatic transfer scheduled for the first of every month. Email 200, cancelled. Then I opened the spreadsheet. 7 years of line items. 7 years of quiet compliance. I didn't delete it. I added one more row. November 200. Reason. Final transfer. Amount. Then I closed the file. Sunday at 6. My phone rang. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times. Then I answered. Elena, my mother began carefully. Chloe's final venue balance is due. We're short $18. 000. Since some costs shifted after. There won't be a transfer, I said calmly. Silence. What do you mean? I mean there won't be a transfer. Her voice sharpened. You can't do this a week before the wedding. I'm not doing anything. I replied evenly. I'm simply not funding it. You promised. I handled emergencies. This isn't one. Chloe grabbed the phone in the background. Are you serious right now? After everything this family has done for you? I almost smiled at that. What exactly has the family done for me? I asked quietly. You're being dramatic because you're sick. I almost died. I said. You were on a beach. That's not fair. No. I agreed. It isn't. I hung up before my voice changed tone. The wedding was scheduled for December 6th. Without my $28. 000 contribution. The venue scaled back. The catering downgraded. The floral installations shrank. Chloe's fiancé's family began asking uncomfortable questions. 2 days before the ceremony, the engagement ended. Not because I intervened. Because the illusion cracked under financial pressure. My mother left 3 voicemails. Your sister is devastated. You're punishing her for something that wasn't her fault. Family doesn't abandon each other. I deleted them all. On December 10th, Mark filed for divorce. He found out the truth the same way I did, abruptly, without ceremony. 32 years of marriage built on a 6-week decision and a buried pregnancy. He called me once. I'm sorry, he said. I always felt like I was standing outside something with you. Now I know why. I didn't blame him. He was part of the structure, not the architect. As for Adrian, he never mentioned any of it unless I did. We met for coffee the week before Christmas. No grand speeches, no revenge celebration. He asked about my physical therapy schedule. He asked if I'd considered reducing my workload. He asked what I wanted to build next, not what I owed, not what I could give, what I wanted. The financial system my family built around me didn't collapse because I attacked it. It collapsed because I withdrew from it. No more Sunday accounting, no more emergency wires, no more emotional leverage disguised as obligation. I didn't yell. I didn't post anything online. I didn't expose secrets. I just stopped paying. And without the ATM functioning, the machine stalled. People like to say blood is thicker than water, but blood didn't stand outside my ICU room for 3 hours, unsure if it deserved to walk in. Blood didn't wire $142,000 without asking for recognition. Blood didn't sit in a hospital chair for 6 nights straight just to make sure I wasn't alone. Blood boarded a plane. Family is proximity under pressure. It's who shows up when there's nothing to gain. It's who stands on the right side of the glass when you're unconscious and can't repay them. For years, I believed love was transactional. Provide, protect, repeat. I thought being the responsible daughter meant absorbing weight so no one else had to. But responsibility without reciprocity isn't love. It's extraction. The night I collapsed, there were 2 kinds of people in my life. The ones calculating flight schedules, and the ones standing in a hospital hallway, waiting for permission he didn't think he deserved. I know which one I chose. If you've ever been the strong one, the dependable one, the one everyone assumes will handle it, ask yourself something. When your life is on the line, who stays? And who schedules a flight? Sometimes the truth doesn't shout. It just stands quietly on the right side of the glass. This story was created by a creative team for entertainment purposes only. It is fictional and not intended as advice or real-life guidance.